Hey guys, it's Madden, and today I'm here with an advice for middle schoolers video. Um, Basically, it is, I think, 8 days, 9 days, before, I'm just gonna turn off the phone, I'm gonna put it on silent or whatever. I go back to school, and I'm going back to 9th grade high school. Complete new experience. And I'm scared shitless, I can admit. I mean, I do have some secure friends who, and my good friend Noah, he is having his birthday his second day of school, so we have open lunch, so we've already planned throwing him a little party, but, it's like, it's not, like, it's creepy to know you're going into this situation that is probably not going to be what you really expect at all. And I've pretty much just not been thinking about it, because I don't want to get an expectation of what it's gonna be like and have it not turn out that way. But I realize this is very similar to how I was thinking. I'm a little bit calmer than I was when I left elementary school, but this is similar to when I was going into middle school. And this isn't just for 6th graders, this is for 7th graders, 8th graders, everyone who's still in middle school, and people who are even going into high school or are in high school, maybe even college, might take something from this video. I feel like I'm pretty good at usually giving advice. I just really suck at taking it myself. But I feel like I've had a very traumatic middle school experience, and I think I've learned a lot from it, and I do want to educate people who are going to middle school and are in middle school, and to keep them from having to deal with things that I had to deal with. So the first thing, just to get it out of the way, is the actual academics part of middle school. I think going into 6th grade, what I thought it was going to be very much like high school, where everything really mattered. Now, obviously, it's important for you to try and get good grades, and don't be one of those girls. There are girls who were very. I had a friend. We're not friends anymore. We're not on bad terms or anything. We're just not friends. She was extremely smart in elementary school. She came to middle school, and she stopped paying attention. She stopped trying. She just put all her attention to boys, and literally now she's, I don't want to say dumb, but she is. She's not, the smartest cookie ever, and she used to be, which, sucks. So, obviously, middle school is not as hard as you might try to make it seem. I mean, the only time I would say you could really, really get stressed out by workload is around finals and around testing times, just because there are a crap ton of tests at once. In 6th grade, you don't need to worry about, the schoolwork being really hard. Obviously, it's not going, because it shouldn't be a walk in the park for you, because you should be taking classes that challenge you, but it's not going to be, ridiculously hard. Honestly, I would say the academics was the least problem, at least for me, in middle school. I did miss a lot of school. I missed like 3-4 weeks at the end of 7th grade, and like 2 months at the end of 8th grade. Um, so I did manage to pass all my tests in 8th grade though, but obviously that affected my grades a lot. But I was still trying, and I was still doing my work, and I was still, when I was in school, I was being proactive about it. And the reason why I was not in school, just to throw out there, has to do with anxiety, a little bit of depression, but mainly revolving around anxiety. And if you guys want me to do a video talking about that, I can, but not everyone who goes into school has to struggle with anxiety. I will sort of touch on that though. I have 4 different segments. We are going to go over school academics, which pretty much I've already covered, because it's really not that important. It's important, obviously, but it's not something I would stress over going in or while you're in there. And people who are in middle school can say it's not terribly difficult. It's just not. It's sort of the gap between elementary school, where you can't even remember, working, and then high school, where high school you get a crap ton of homework. And then in middle school, it's like you can have days with no homework, and it's just sort of like up in the air. But I'm going to touch friends and like social aspects and girls and stuff like that. Romance, the middle school romance, and just to put it out there for the romance and friends and all of this is just generalization of what I saw in my middle school. This may not be at all what it's like for you or what it will be like for you. Maybe like for romance, there are people who are young and are able to have like a stable relationship and have it be legitimate. Generally, that's not true, and I do need to warn you things about that. And friends, you will have great friends who are legitimate. I do. But I also had a crap ton, and it took me forever to find those friends, and I had a crap ton that were fake, and you're gonna have fake friends. I don't know anyone who doesn't have fake friends in middle school. You're gonna have fake friends. But and then a lot about yourself, because middle school is this big thing where you're sort of challenging who you are, and that continues into high school. But I feel like in middle school, that's when you like completely don't act like yourself. Like you completely change, and not usually for the better. Sort of like not necessarily worse, but it's just not who you are. Most people tend to change like that, and some people sort of go. Most people I think start verging back at least at the end of 8th grade. But anyways, let's move on to friends. So basically going into middle school for me, I had two friends who we were sort of this trio. However, those two were much closer, much better friends than I was. I was friends with one, and we were best friends, and we were best friends for like 7 years. And then she also had another best friend who she sort of idolized. You know, she wanted to be exactly like her and all that fun stuff. And so me and that girl were friends, and we pretended to be best friends. We didn't have anything against each other. We just weren't close. But we were sort of like a trio, even though they usually hung out without me. So in 6th grade, I went into 6th grade with the expectation of it being like, the high school, like that type of experience, and like to have this whole entire new fresh start, because I was bullied a lot in elementary school. For that to sort of all change, and for me to sort of step up, and become this person that ever since I was a little girl wanted to be. The popular, peppy, yay girl. And if you watch my videos, I'm not like that. But yeah, that's what I was obsessed with. And for my grade, if you dressed girly, what? This changed in 7th, 8th grade, but in 6th grade, if you wore any trace of makeup, if you dressed somewhat fashionably, and I love fashion. If you watch my NYC haul, you know this. I love clothes. I love fashion. When I talk, I don't seem like a huge girly girl. At least I don't think, but I am. And I wasn't able to dress like how I wanted to, or I'd get like eyed at, and like people would say things to me. And there's just this really big expectation of you in 6th grade, because people are immature and they're trying to act like they're old when they're not, and that continues off into middle school. And I'm not going to say that people actually mature by the end of 8th grade, but some do. And I matured a shit ton in middle school. Like, I'm just very, I don't know, I have a different outlook on life than most people my age. Because most people my age don't even have an outlook on life. They're just sort of thinking about the next selfie they can post on Instagram of them in a swimsuit. To be quite honest, like that's what it's like for me. But basically, to give you advice about friends, 6th grade, be very cautious. I wouldn't. I had a friend who I was best friends with like for 4 months, and she started changing herself to be popular, and she started stealing, and she'd do anything to have a boyfriend. And I separated myself from her. I did it in a very bad way. I did it in a very mean and bad way. Terrible, and I still feel guilty about it to this day. But I separated myself from her because I knew this wasn't the type of person I wanted to be hanging out with. And that has happened quite a few. I wasn't ever like that was the last big fight I've ever gotten in someone, but a lot of friendships failed on me, and I think I gave people the benefit of the doubt way too many times. But I think with the whole entire friends thing, it's scary, and I was sort of wrapped up in this group of girls who are pretty much the epitome of what I don't like in people. Very overdramatic, very, oh, I'm so in love with this boy type girl. Very jockey, very, you know, um, judgmental, and very gossipy and very catty, even though they think they aren't. Like, it just wasn't the type of people I really saw myself hanging out with, and there wasn't really anything I could do about it, or at least I thought. So I didn't really actually drift away from them until middle of 8th grade, I want to say. Um, so, like, it just, it does suck. The whole entire friend situation, it does suck. You are going to have dramatic experiences with friends in middle school. Like, you just are. Like, there's no avoiding it. It's going to happen. But, I mean, everyone is so insecure and so wrapped up in themselves. Like, people are going to take things out on you, and people are going to try to push how they live onto you. Like, I'm athletic, I'm sporty, you're not. Oh, you, go away. Like, it's just, I would try to find a group of people who really fit in with. I'm not the type of person to want all my friends to be exactly like me. I'm not at all. Like, I really like having really unique and individual friends who are very different from each other, but we all seem to get along anyways. I love that. I think it's really interesting, but at the same time, we're all still very similar. But you don't want someone who thinks what is most important to them is boys, or what they're wearing, or how they're looking, or whatever. And for a teenage girl, that's, tends to be the concern. But, you just sort of have to realize what it is that you are wanting to focus on and find people who are sort of similar in that perspective. Another thing I learned throughout middle school, this is more towards 8th grade, that even if someone you really care about, it means a lot to you, that doesn't mean they're always the best for you emotionally or health-wise to be friends with. I had a friend, best friend, who's very self-destructive. She was bipolar, and I love her, and I loved her, and I would still love her. But it sort of got to the point that it was destructing me, even though she was intending it to. It was destructive towards me, and it sucks for those type things to happen, but they do end up happening. And there will be cliques, and there will be all of that, and there will be gossip, and there will be drama, and there will be times when you did nothing wrong, but people are attacking you. I've been completely attacked by teachers, by students, all at the same time, and it was terrible, and, like, literally, it was just bad, but, you just sort of have to fight through it, I guess. Middle school is something that, you just have to go through and get it done with. It's like, what's that sickness? It's like a stomach flu, something like that. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to wait it out. And that's pretty much middle school. You have to wait it out. You have to wait things out. I wouldn't suggest, getting into huge fights with friends, even though that's going to eventually happen. I would try to avoid getting into arguments with people online and through texting, because, when you have a friendship, that is a terrible way to end it. Sadly, that has happened. Well, it's only happened once, but, it's just, it's, But, and if a girl ever threatens you with something and says, yeah, no, you guys have to kick that girl out of the table, don't do it, okay? I'm not gonna go into what happened, but it was terrible. I didn't really have much to do with it, but still. But friends sort of suck. In middle school, I feel like you find a few that are really genuine, and then the rest are sort of, they're not bad people or anything like that. They're just not legitimate, good friends. And I think the people who don't realize that will end up realizing that later on. So yeah. Moving on to romance. 6th grade, I was like, I want a boyfriend so badly. I never dated someone in middle school, so why would I be telling people about, middle school romance? Because as an outsider to this whole entire thing, I mean, I've come I'm not going to go into this situation because they're all very embarrassing, but I mean, I've witnessed it a lot. The same girl who turned down also turned into a little slut. She had 14 boyfriends in the 3 years, and those were just official boyfriends. That's not counting the guys who she had things with, but didn't make it official with. I've witnessed it a lot. Now, this will come out sounding harsh, but this is just for your own sake. Do not say you're in love with a boy to everyone after you've been dating him for like 3 weeks, because guess what? I've seen people in middle school who had more serious relationships than others, and they did not go around talking about it. Like, they were private, and they were, people just sort of knew it was serious, and it sort of meant more to each of them than the average relationship meant. People could sense it because of just the way they were. If you're going around being like, oh my god, I love him, nah, 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 people are going to dislike you. You are going to make people who, they're just not, they're not going to be into it. It's just annoying and not true most of the time. Most of the time. I'm saying most of the time. Not all the time. So don't go in the comments saying, I have a boyfriend and I love him so much. Oh my god, why are you trying to diminish your relationship? Whatever. I don't know your relationship. I'm just saying generally. That's facts. Generally. This makes sense. Basically, 6th grade, don't date. Don't try to. You're going to just embarrass your future self. Trust me on that one. Also, the stuff has to do with romance. Girls are starting to turn into little sluts in middle school, and they will start doing things that are gross and disgusting for a 12-year-old to do. Don't become one of them. Don't do it. Don't grind on people when you are 12 years old and have only had your period for like a year and a half. Don't send pictures, and you know what kind. Don't send those, and don't be the stupidest idiot ever and include your face on it. And girl, if you think he's not showing everyone, he is. He is. Don't try. No. Don't go to high school parties and pretend that you're 15 or 16, because I'm not the type of person. I'm not a very conservative person. I'm not religious, so it's not like I have those type morals. It's just more of, I realize there is a time and place for that type of thing. And when you are 12 years old and in the 7th grade or 13 or 11, you should not be doing that. You just shouldn't. That's not appropriate for your age. It's just not. And yeah, that's what I can say about that. I wouldn't be going on the bandwagon with wanting to date everyone you see, because it's just going to embarrass you. Also, I want to throw out to middle schoolers. You probably are just jumping on social media. Maybe 5-year-olds are on social media now. I don't know. If you were just getting on Facebook, don't be me in 7th grade and change your profile picture at least twice a week. That's what I did. And because of that, I got 2 likes on each, and I'd have to go through and delete every single one of them because I realized how stupid I looked. And most people won't remember 2 years from then how many times you change your profile picture, but you'll always have that in the back of your mind. How many people who are older than you probably were so annoyed by you and defriended you because you changed your profile picture so many times. Just don't. Moving on to yourself. The deep emotional part of this. Sadly, middle school is a time when a lot of mental disorders and things like that start to peak out, and you start to take notice of if you have not taken notice of them before, and they start to attack you. If you are feeling like you are experiencing a mental disorder, you have to tell someone. It's just not, you're already having your hormones, you're already having these bitches yap at you all day. You cannot handle also trying to figure out what's going on with you at the same time. Like, you just can't, because, like, it's just, I talk to someone. If you talk to me, you can talk to me, you can talk to your parents, you can talk to your guidance counselor, you can talk to your siblings, you can talk to your best friend, just talk to someone. And, also, I'm going to say I wouldn't go spreading it around the grade, and the reason I say that are people are not mature, you know, they're not, you know, the most accepting people ever when they're in 7th grade. I've come across huge bitches, and you will too, and you just don't want to make things harder for yourself. No, so I wouldn't suggest. If you want to and you feel like that's better, you can, but I wouldn't suggest necessarily, from my experiences, to just go around telling everyone about it, just because the reaction won't always be supportive. Another thing is you're going to change yourself, and you're going to change yourself to try to fit in. I've not seen one person not do this. It is sad, but it is true. And, you know, I acted like this ditzy idiot who is so literate and terrible and incompetent, and like, everyone thought I was an idiot and I was spazzy, and like, I'm sarcastic. I may get loud sometimes, but I'm not a spaz. Like, no, that's a lie. Well, and I'm with my best friends, I'm a spaz, but that's with my best friends in the privacy of Snapchat, not outside at lunch. Like, it's just, I don't want to think about that dark time of mine. That is so weird. You know, you're gonna change yourself. You're gonna try to be interested in things that you're not. You are going to want to not be interested in things that you actually are. You're gonna want to try to change yourself, and obviously right now, don't. That's probably not gonna change anything, but you don't need to. So yeah. Also, for girls with bodies, it is a terrible time, and I could literally make a whole entire video talking about, like, body image and other girls talking about bodies, but you have to learn to accept it. If you are too skinny and you get made fun of for it, accept it. If you are thick and people call you obese or fat, you are curvy. You are bodacious. Rockets. If you are sort of awkwardly in the middle and skinny girls are calling you chubby and you don't really know what to believe, work with it. Like, it's just, you shouldn't freak out about it. You shouldn't. And it's hard to think. Especially if you are trying not to focus on it too much. But everyone else is, it's sort of hard to avoid. But you'll eventually learn to accept the body you have, more or less. So, and I would suggest never start talking with your friends bashing your body, because you have no idea what that's going to lead to with your friends and yourself, and that can easily offend other people if you're complaining about your body and let's say you're thinner than someone, or you're complaining about your curves to a skinny girl who really wants curves, or you're complaining about being fat to someone who's bigger than you, and it's just, it will offend people. Even though it's not their viewers' intent, it will happen. So I'm going to end this here because it's been 24 minutes, but I will talk to you guys in the next video. You guys can comment below if you guys want a specific MaddenTalks or a specific video on my vlog channel, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.